Integrated: How American Schools Failed Black Children. Written by Noliwe Rooks and published in March of 2025 by Pantheon, with a snippet read by Richard Coombs. Available for checkout right now at the Alice L. Pendleton Library. In April of 2021, a lawyer friend told me a story about one of her clients, a little girl with milk chocolate skin who lived in the South Bronx. She loved her elementary school filled with children whose skin color ranged from the first light of dawn to the depths of midnight. Her classmates had family members on islands like Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, or on the closer island of Manhattan. The little girl admired her teachers, cherished her friends, and relished learning. She always, according to her mother, looked forward to school. I heard that part just fine. It took me a minute to fully grasp the rest. One day, the little girl came home and, with a squealed excitement, shared the news that her class was going on a field trip to a rich school. They would, she said, ride yellow buses, meet other children, and see different teachers. She assured her mother she would be on her best behavior. A few days after the trip, a teacher found the little girl at her desk scratching away at her arm with a paperclip. She was trying to erase the chocolate-hued top layer of her skin and free the white skin hiding underneath. She had decided that the skin, her skin, was the reason she didn't go to a pretty school like the one she and her classmates had visited on that field trip, and it made her feel sad. One of the most disturbing aspects of this story, I think, is that she was not altogether wrong. School segregation has always benefited white and wealthy children who attended well-resourced, fully staffed, well-maintained schools. Meanwhile, a distressingly high number of poor, black, indigenous, and Latino children attend schools that are underfunded, crumbling, and understaffed. In heartbreaking fashion, this little girl showed the violent impact of the segregated educational system in the United States, using her skin to make the point. And she is neither the first nor the last child to have been exposed to this sort of educational inequity and be left broken by the experience. This is a book about how segregation in schools in the United States has consistently been remade and reinforced to keep those at both the top and the bottom of the social caste system so firmly anchored in their positions that, despite the admittedly sporadic and episodic efforts to integrate schools, we have been unable to significantly dislodge this inequity. It is about how the dream of widespread integration became a tepid desegregation, wherein as small a number as possible of black children were, like pepper on popcorn, lightly sprinkled atop wealthy, white school environments, while most others were left behind. It is about what is buried below the surface of integration efforts in the United States and what must be found, dug up, and properly laid to rest to adequately understand and address the inequalities in our present educational system. When refracted through the prism of one truth, the movement to desegregate or share the benefits and promises of public education in the United States is a story of hope, promise, and opportunity. When refracted through the light of a different truth, it is an undertold tale about ruin and underexplored historical and contemporary trauma. The dream of one system that would serve all children equally, giving black children access to the same educational opportunities as the wealthy, ultimately came true for only a select few. This is so even in schools with a relatively equal number of students from distinct racial and economic backgrounds. In such schools, students who are in higher performing classrooms are rarely black or Latino, and those in the lowest tracks are rarely white or Asian. Though they share a school building, academic and ability sorting and tracking ensure that their paths rarely actually cross. Integration, as it was initially imagined, has rarely happened. Brown versus Board of Education, the landmark civil rights case that was meant to equalize education between white and black students, was born from sustained efforts by the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP. In 1935, NAACP lawyers began filing educational equalization lawsuits, arguing that, so long as black citizenship was not recognized as equal citizenship under the law, separate educational systems based on race were not and could never be equal. Schools educating white children and wealthy children would always have more, and black children would never gain access to the clean, well-equipped classrooms that they too deserved. 5 different cases brought on behalf of parents across Delaware, Washington, D.C., Virginia, South Carolina, and Kansas between 1950 and 1954 called for the court to help schools better educate black children by mandating racial integration. The 5 were eventually consolidated into Brown versus Board, bundled together to strengthen the argument about the regional, if not national, harms of segregated education.